Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. My name, of course, is Orbital Potato, and welcome back to Democracy 4. That's right, we're starting a brand new campaign, again going back to the United States of America. This time, that's right, my friends, we are going to be rolling out capitalism in a way that has never been seen before. Orbital Potato Corp Limited. The political party is gonna be a thing, and it is gonna be insane. Okay, let's immediately jump into things and see what we've got going on. Thank you very much to everyone who commented on the last Democracy 4 video, suggesting a playthrough similar to this one that we're doing right here. It's worth noting that the game has changed rather substantially since the last time that I played it, so that's good, that's good. I think the difficulty has been tweaked slightly, and so I'm hoping it's going to be slightly easier to be, perhaps, you know, assassinated, perhaps slightly more challenging to just get everything past that I want to get past. But you know what, we'll see exactly what the heck has changed as we go. Now, something else that I want to plug very, very specifically at the start of this episode before we jump fully into the content is the Discord server. You may not be familiar, but I do have a Discord server, and it is the best place to stay up to date with all of the stuff that is happening in the world of Orbital Potato, whether it's Democracy 4, whether it's anything else. Come check out the Discord server. YouTube can be very, very stinky with notifications sometimes, so if you want to get your updates from the Discord server, might be a better way of being notified consistently. Anyway, with that out of the way, I just wanted to say thanks, and let's jump on into the video. Let's see what we want to do. Okay, so we want to try and appease the capitalists. I mean, there are a couple of achievements that I think we would go for. Heir to Ayn Rand, I think, is what we're after as well. There's probably a bunch of other stuff as well, which I'm thinking that we might try and go for. But look, this is not necessarily about achievements. What we are going to try and do is we are going to try and convert everyone to a capitalist, and we are going to try and appease the capitalist as much as we possibly can. So that's what we're going to do. Sorting out this massive pile of debt does seem to be somewhat of a problem. We don't want to put any additional strain on corporations. No siree. No siree. No. Orbi Potato Corp, Potato Orbital Corp Limited, you know, LLC. We don't want to do that. We are absolutely not about that life. The law and order area, is not an area that we're going to be specifically referencing a lot. Yeah, see, look, this is one of the things that's been updated. Water cannons now, as well as affecting liberal opinion, also affect compassionate opinion, which is kind of interesting. Tasers, I don't think were changed. I think rubber bullets, yeah, rubber bullets were also changed as well. So there's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of changes that I'm hoping are not going to torpedo my chances too much. Right, so this technological advantage is good. The private space industry is also very, very good. The pollution that we've got just rumbling on in the background is bad, is very, very bad, in fact. The gig economy that we've got is actually very, very good because it increases capitalist opinion, and so therefore I'm keeping it. We're definitely gonna try and hold on to that one if at all possible. Environmental protests, not exactly great. That feeds into traffic congestion, and that leads to gridlock, basically, which is negative for GDP. Now, if there's one thing that I know about capitalists, it's that capitalists absolutely adore GDP, so we really need to prioritize growing our economy as much as we possibly can. If we're able to do that, then we will not have any issues, and we should be completely fine. Respiratory disease, honestly, not a big deal at all. It does negatively impact productivity, but not in a major way, so I'm not overly bothered about that. The doctor's strike, it's a little bit of a pain in the backside, but nothing crazy. Labor laws, look, we are gonna be moving full on over to maximum pro-employer laws. So that's definitely something that we're gonna do to try and appease the capitalists as much as we possibly can. And in the same stroke, we might be able to fix the doctor's strike, which would be very, very nice indeed. We've got antisocial behavior, which sort of rumbles on in the background again. The whole liberalism versus conservatism thing, I'm not particularly bothered about that conflict over the course of this run. This run is literally going to be capitalist versus socialist, you know. A match made in heaven, so to speak. A fight as old as time. Okay, but antisocial behavior is pretty easy to deal with. I mean, we just need to bump up police force spending as much as we possibly can, really. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to do. The other thing that we want to probably consider is community policing as well. So community policing costs hardly anything, but can really, really, really substantially reduce antisocial behavior. Also, it doesn't look like alcohol abuse is a starting negative modifier for the USA anymore, which is honestly great because I feel like alcohol abuse was just like a starting modifier in every single country. So it's kind of nice that that's not the case anymore. Now, I think maybe we want to raise additional taxes through tobacco and also alcohol taxes. Is that seriously a thing? I think that might seriously be a thing. I think that this is what we want to do. It is going to increase poverty dramatically, but it's going to reduce alcohol consumption dramatically. It's actually more worthwhile for us to increase tobacco taxes, I think, given that raises an extra 10 billion or so, whereas alcohol taxes will only raise, well, less than 10 billion, but at the same time will massively increase poverty, and that's not something that I really want to do. I mean, where are we financially? We're in an okay position financially. GDP is in an okay place. It's a lot harder to max out GDP. It's a lot harder to max out everything now. So it's more difficult to max out health and education and all of these things because of some normalization algorithms, I believe. But anyway, you know, we should make a decision. We should go with something. The other thing that we need to consider, just before I do actually make a decision, the other thing that we need to consider is a whole bunch of economic measures. For example, like business startup campaigns. This is something that we want to do. What's the other one? It's Young Entrepreneur Scheme. This is another one that we want to do. And then there is one other that I cannot for the life of me remember. I mean, technology grants is good, actually. It's very good. In fact, maybe that's the first thing that we want to open with. It is a little bit pricey. Quantitative easing is the other one. Let's go with quantitative easing. So let's immediately give ourselves a little extra boost of GDP. Now, currency strength and the whole currency modifier has, I believe, that's middle earnings. What am I looking for? I'm looking for currency. I've literally never looked at currency, I don't think. Is currency... I've literally no idea where currency strength actually is. There we go. All right, this is currency strength. Yeah, currency strength is apparently a lot more potent. So we need to stay on our guard. We need to stay on our guard for that. Okay, do we want to just boost up alcohol tax? I feel very, 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 very nonchalant about that. Charity tax relief. We could max out charity tax relief. It would cost us a little bit of cash, but that's no big deal. Private prisons. I mean, we could do that. We could expand private prisons a little bit. Alternatively, why don't we just introduce a policy? Why don't we introduce a policy? Business startup campaign. National Business Council. Let's go for National Business Council. It increases GDP, increases capitalist opinion, decreases socialist membership. I mean, it's as good as it gets, isn't it? It's as good as it flippin' gets. Okay, so let's throw that in there. Anything else that capitalists dislike, maybe I can just tone it down. Something that decreases capitalist membership specifically. Child benefit, maybe I can turn child benefit down a little bit. In fact, to be honest, I think we just want to straight up cancel child benefit. Yeah, okay, that's going to cost us 19 political capital to do. And it's going to save us $69 billion, which would be really, really nice. Okay, you know what? Let's save our political capital for next turn, and then let's immediately cancel child benefit. Okay. Credit rating downgraded? Really? That's a little bit surprising that was downgraded on the very, very, very first turn. Also, given the fact that our GDP increased, that's kind of insane too. Uncompetitive economy is starting to increase, but that's okay. We can fix productivity. All we need to do is fix health. The way that we're going to fix health is by making the doctors go back to work. We're going to end the strike, and we're going to fix we're going to fix things. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Does child benefit actually feed into health? I don't think it does. I don't think it does at all. It feeds into a lot of stuff, actually. It feeds into a heck of a lot of stuff. But that's okay. We've got 22 political capital. Now, how much does it cost for me to change the... not this. The labor laws. It's going to cost me 12 political capital to max that out. How's the doctor's strike looking? The doctor's strike is not looking great. Private healthcare is in a pretty good place. Health tax credits. Okay, so this counts as a default policy now. I like that. I like that a lot. So we could theoretically increase dramatically the amount of health tax credits that we offer. I don't actually dislike that. Three political capital to bump it up to there costs us an extra, 8 or 9 billion. That's fine. Okay, let's immediately cancel this policy. Yep. So that's a good move. That's going to immediately put us in a positive cash flow place. Of course, we do need to account for the fact that our interest rate will have gone up ever so slightly from AAA to AA. But that's a big increase of GDP there. A really, really, really big increase of GDP. So I like that a lot. Yeah, what was I going to change? I was going to change... I can't even remember. I can't even remember what I was going to do. I can't even remember what I was going to change. It's just a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. How can I not remember? I feel so embarrassed right now. I could change the work safety law. I could change that to change productivity. How could I not remember this? How can I not remember this? I had it in my brain. I had it in my brain what I was going to change. And then it just completely disappeared. It was health tax credits. That's what it was. Don't even look, stop. I'm fixing it. I remembered. It's okay. Right. The reason that we want to do this, is because private healthcare just needs a tiny boost in order to fix things. We also want to absolutely trash our state health service. So that's what we're going to do, but we're going to have to do that next turn. Anyway, let's spend an extra couple of billion on health tax credits. Call it a day there. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Capitalists, of course, love it. So that's good news for us. Very, very good news for us. Okay. Alcohol abuse is gonna become an issue, but it's not actually gonna become an issue because it's just about to become an issue, but it's not actually gonna become an issue because we are hopefully gonna step up community policing because we want to solve antisocial behavior. Cool. All right, GDP did indeed go down just a little smidgen, but that's completely fine. We're still running an absolutely monstrous surplus right now, which is great. Parents absolutely despise me because, I mean, I just cut out $69 billion worth of child benefits, so I mean that's not exactly something that they like, but that's okay. Minimum wage, it's got to be reduced. It's got to be reduced to nothing. Yeah, it definitely has to be reduced to nothing. But we can deal with that. We can deal with that later. I think that we want to, on the first occasion, implement labor laws. Yeah, implement labor laws to the max. So make them as pro-employer as we possibly can. See if we can try and forcibly end this doctor's strike. If we can, then that would be great. That would be really, really good. So labor laws are going to be changed. Private healthcare should start to come online. Maybe we want to boost that up just a little bit more. I think we do actually want to spend... Yeah, we want to spend another 3 political capital. So that's 6 political capital over 2 turns. That's pretty good. That's pretty good if you ask me. At the same time, do we want to just relax or even perhaps cancel pollution controls? I mean, if we just destroy pollution controls, the environment will just disappear, which I guess is fine. I mean, the environment doesn't really have much going for it at the moment, so we use this to gain a little bit of extra GDP. Sure, 3 political capital to cancel is an absolute bargain as well, so that's good. Okay, so we've actually managed to trim out a fair bit of chaff already from the economy, which is quite nice. Ban public smoking, leave the law unchanged. Sure, we can appease the liberals. Appeasing liberals, appeasing environmentalists, again, it's sort of a bonus. We don't really need to worry about it altogether too much. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What do we got? We got a water shortage that is picked up. Well, I don't know why that happened. Probably because the environment is in such a poor place. Do we have a lot of farmers? I don't think we've got a lot of farmers. The average temperature as well, I don't think that's a big deal. Not at this moment in time. Do we have many farmers? Can I have a fact check on that, please? Farmer membership. It's actually trended downwards the last couple of turns, so that's really good. That's really, really great. Anyway, back to what's going on over here. What do we got? GDP, a little bit of a dip there, but that's mostly because of this deadly virus outbreak. You know, I reckon if we were to solve this, or if this hadn't poked up, we would be growing our economy right now. All right, unemployment shot up, but again, I think that is as a result of the deadly virus outbreak, i.e. GDP decreasing, unemployment increasing. Health has remained roughly steady, to be honest, which is completely fine. Water shortage, we've already talked about, isn't actually developing. We are running a massive budget surplus at this moment in time, and education is starting to pick up, which is really, 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 really nice. Poverty, surprisingly, has trended down for the last couple of turns. That's a little bit weird. That is a little bit weird, a little bit funky. A little bit funky indeed. Anyway, how's the doctor strike looking? The doctor strike is actually going to end next turn, which is going to improve health dramatically. I'm just worried about this. I'm just worried about this virus outbreak thing. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem. We also need to just, you know, occasionally reference our threat assessment, but it looks like maybe it's been balanced just a little bit more appropriately, and therefore we don't actually have any violent groups yet who are thinking about attacking us. So that's nice. That's really, really nice. We should consider, you know, law and order a little bit. We should definitely think about that, especially now that we've got a 41 billion surplus to play around with. We should, you know, bump up community policing. We should bump up the police force. We should do all of these things, given that they cost reasonably little in terms of political capital. It costs 0 political capital. It costs 1 political capital to lower community policing, and it costs 2 political capital to cancel. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think that community policing is one of the best policies in the flippin' game. It's really genuinely very, very good. It really is. Armed police. I'm looking for the police force, please, video game. Where are the police force, please? That's intelligence services. Police force are over here. Okay, we need to fully fund the police force as much as we possibly can. It's gonna do reasonably little to solve unemployment. Actually, how is crime? I need to have a little look. Crime is actually quite high. Crime is actually quite high at this moment in time. Okay, so you know what, let's bump this up to max. Let's bump this up to max. We'll absolutely destroy antisocial behavior. What is the impact that antisocial behavior is actually having? Antisocial behavior is having probably the largest impact to crime of anything here. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. So what you're saying, video game, is if we solve antisocial behavior, we can actually solve the crime problem and therefore give ourselves more GDP. That's what I like to hear. That's really, really good. Okay, alcohol consumption. Alcohol consumption needs to be sincerely and severely curtailed, thanks to the introduction of a brand new big old tax, which is one tax that capitalists don't actually hate. They don't dislike the tobacco tax or the alcohol tax. Well, technically you could say that they do, because it impacts everyone. As you can see here, everyone hates the tobacco tax, but you know, that's fine. Not everyone hates the alcohol tax, apparently. Again, still don't understand why that's the case, but it is what it is. Do capitalists dislike food stamps? They don't. They don't. So you know what? I think I might take the opportunity to actually increase by round about 8 billion food stamps, because we are going to be seeing a large increase in poverty because we increased tobacco tax and also the alcohol tax. Yeah, alcohol tax especially is going to lead to a large increase in poverty. So if we can get ahead of that, then that would be great. Okay, brilliant. This is a good turn. It may not look like it, but it's a good turn. Okay, GDP continues to fall, but that's okay. It's, again, I'm mostly putting it down to the fact that we have a deadly virus outbreak on our hands. Health is up by a monstrous amount, mostly because we've ended the doctor strike. The health workers strike has been called off and the doctors have returned to work. Exactly. Brilliant. Poverty has increased. It's still fine. The levels of poverty that we have are still okay. The alcohol tax is definitely not brilliant in that regard, but that's okay. That's completely fine. Hospital overcrowding is about to develop. Yeah, I mean, that is entirely caused by the fact that we have massive healthcare demand because of this deadly virus outbreak. So, I mean, frankly, there is nothing that we can really do about this at the moment in time. We know that next turn, the turn after that, we'll be back to regular levels. We still are running a pretty sizable, actually, budget surplus, just shy of 30 billion there. We got a AA credit rating, which is not too bad at all. Solving gridlock would be in my mind a good thing to do. The reason that it would be a good thing to do is because the gridlock feeds negatively into GDP, as does traffic congestion. Yeah, I don't like it. So gridlock has got its own negative GDP modifier, and then traffic congestion also decreases GDP, which is terrible, which is absolutely terrible. Okay, can we, like, fund road building as much as we possibly can? I don't really want to do that, though. I don't really want to do that at all. Perhaps we use this as an opportunity to, you know, implement some policies which will help reduce the number of cars on the road. It's going to take a while to get there, but I think that that's still probably worthwhile doing. Respiratory disease, yeah, that's not going to end anytime soon. Obesity, surprisingly, might end sometime soon, maybe, but I sincerely doubt it. The price of food is going to start to increase dramatically, though. The reason that the price of food is increasing dramatically, I believe, yeah, international trade disappeared with the virus outbreak, which is a bit of a bummer. Oil price is still fine. Average temperature is holding roughly steady, which is okay. Agriculture subsidies, I think that we need to ditch agriculture subsidies, which is going to have a good and bad effect. It's going to save us money, which is nice. We're going to stop increasing the numbers of farmers in the country, which is also nice. But it is going to push up unemployment if we cancel the policy. So let's not cancel the policy quite yet. We also need to bear in mind, of course, the threat assessment. Threat assessment is still okay at this moment in time. Our popularity does leave a lot to be desired. It really, really does. We need to claw back. We need to claw back votes from the electorate, and that's what we're going to do. That is what we are absolutely going to do. But what do we do with the 16 political capital that we've got right now? I just don't know. Antisocial behavior, that'll be ending. I'm not worried about that even slightly. That is definitely going to be ending. Environmental protests, I mean, I doubt that's going to end at any time soon. Pollution, I also sincerely doubt that that's going to end at any time soon. Look, why don't we see if we can try and solve gridlock? I figure that might at least get us some of the way. To solving gridlock. Okay, so what can we do? There is the Telecommuting Initiative, which is probably one of the best, right? Let's do that. So car usage is just going to decrease by, like, what, 13%? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So let's do that. That's going to cost us 6 billion for a telecommuting initiative. That seems pretty awful. A carpooling campaign, I mean, that sounds good. Crucially, though, these changes only cost like a couple of political capital here and there. A state railway company and a state airline both sound absolutely delightful. However, unfortunately, capitalists despise nationalized industry, and therefore I ain't gonna be implementing it. So that's just not happening. Fuel efficiency standards, similarly, capitalists don't like that, and it also increases car usage, so I don't understand why I would ever want to consider doing this. Electric cars initiative, yes. Cycling campaign, yep. Congestion charging. Honestly, congestion charging might just be... In fact, I think congestion charging probably is the best way to quickly reduce traffic congestion and reduce car usage. At the same time, though, we do end up irritating motorists, which is, you know, not exactly the best thing in the world, but it's not exactly the worst thing in the world either. Race Discrimination Act? Yeah, to be honest, the fact that we've got the power to modulate this for one political capital is good. I don't think that we need to tweak it at the moment. I think everything is fine. I think, to be honest, the fact that nobody despises me enough to join an armed group is good. Is very, very good. The work safety law, to be honest, we can scale this right back. We can scale this right back. However, given that I probably want to cancel this policy in order to just eke out an extra little boost of productivity, it's not something that we want to waste political capital on right now. Clean energy subsidies, I mean, look, I would cancel them if I could, because capitalists dislike them. It's literally that simple. And I will cancel them. I absolutely will cancel them as soon as I possibly can. Increasing family planning, does this really make that much of a difference for us? I mean, it costs an extra billion or so, but it's not a big deal. So, you know what, we're going to steer clear of that one. Witness protection program, I mean, how is violent crime? I mean, it's going to disappear anyway. There's no point in throwing more money into... into law and order programs if we're already there in terms of crime. So that's good. Community policing's on the way up anyway. Private prisons, we're definitely going to max out, by the way. We're definitely going to max out so that we end up appeasing capitalists as much as we possibly can. It's just a matter of acquiring the right amount of political capital. Police force is also on the way up to the max, so that's fine. Technological advantage is here to stay, which is grand. Private space industry is here to stay, which is good. What do we got? Corporate manslaughter bill? No, block this law. Yeah. Capitalists like the maneuver. Of course they do. That's who I'm here to serve. Your wish is my command. Okay. So this is a really, 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 really good turn for us. GDP up by a substantial amount. Not back to, you know, start of the game levels yet, but we're getting there. Health, another big increase. Not as big as last turn, but, you know, we can't always have a doctor strike ending. Crime, a big decrease. Very, very happy with that, which, of course, you know, again, feeds into GDP. It actually feeds into GDP in more than one way, because GDP... or should I say, crime feeds directly into GDP, but it also feeds into stability, which feeds into tourism, which feeds into foreign investment. Foreign investment and tourism both increase GDP, I believe. So there you go. That's kind of nice to consider. Unemployment is down, surprisingly, presumably because we're recruiting so many people for our community police and our just regular police force. I'm assuming that that's the case. We got a brand new major party donor, which is real nice. And we have got a little bit of a budget surplus still to spend, which is great. The global economy is on the way down, which is a bit of a problem. Also, how's inflation looking? Inflation has increased a little bit. Inflation has increased a little bit. Our currency strength is okay. The price of food does need to be kept an eye on. Yeah. International trade. I'm keen to increase international trade as much as we possibly can, because that has a negative effect on food price and also increases our GDP as much as possible. So anything that we can do to increase international trade would be great. Honestly, trying to improve foreign relations, I think, would increase that as well. Yeah, so we want to see if we can try and improve foreign relations. Maybe... honestly, truthfully, the answer is just to give as much as we possibly can in foreign aid. Seems kind of counterintuitive, but, you know, it might just work. Capitalists are in the green, by the way. Holy cow, that's looking good. Also, capitalist membership is up to about 70%. What's still decreasing capitalist membership? Unemployed benefit. I mean, look, we can end this. We can end this right now. Poverty is going to increase. Unemployment is actually going to go down. I mean, I do want to end it. I do want to end it, but we only have 17 political capital, so that's an entire turn. It does save us a lot of money, though. It does save us a heck of a lot of money. Yeah, it does save us a substantial amount of money. How's car usage looking? And how's gridlock looking? Oh my goodness, gridlock is due to end next turn? We've actually decreased traffic congestion enough to make a difference? It looks like we have. Well, that is excellent. Okay. That is brilliant. I'm very, very happy with that. Okay, you know what? You know what we're going to do? Let me see if we can try and introduce... Let me see if we can try and introduce just a couple more policies centered around getting car usage down. So we'll introduce bicycle subsidies. Yep, we'll introduce car emission limits. No, car emission limits upset capitalists, don't they? No. No. Hold up. Clean fuel subsidies. Car emission limits and clean fuel subsidies. I know they are different things, but they're pretty similar things, right? Cycling campaign. We already introduced cycling subsidies. Right. Okay, do this. So cycling campaign and cycling subsidies. Bicycle subsidies, that's the one. Introduce them both. Then give me something like this. Yeah, car emission limits. Sure. So this doesn't actually upset capitalists. It spurs on the electric car transition, which is good. The environment, huge increase to the environment there, and also decreases CO2 emissions, which is actually quite important. Actually quite important, just in the grand context of the world, but also the grand context of this playthrough, because we need to be really, really, really careful about food price. The good news about the increasing food price is that that's actually going to have a negative effect on obesity, so that is something to consider. Factory farming law, leave law unchanged. Again, appease the capitalists. Appease the capitalists at each and every turn. That is what we're going to do. Okay, richest company pays no tax. Now that, under normal circumstances, I would consider a good thing. I would consider it a good thing. The fact that socialist membership has increased, I believe, means that capitalist membership will decrease. Yeah, so, you know, capitalists are offset against socialists, and therefore if the group of, you know, the membership of one group increases, then the membership of the other group decreases. Okay, GDP, I mean, what the heck happened? It's just taken off. It's gone stratospheric. Is that a word? It's gone into the stratosphere. Health, again, nice big increase there. Very, very good. Unemployment continuing to fall. Holy cow, is that just due to GDP increasing? I guess it must be. And then crime, again, continuing to fall at a really, really rapid rate. We've ended gridlock. We've already talked about the richest company paying no tax. There is a situation imminent of cyberbullying. But to be honest, that's not really going to be a problem. Don't even worry about it. We do still have a reasonably small budget surplus. It's a small budget surplus, but it's something that we can be happy about, for sure. What's the threat assessment looking like? Oh, boy. There is activity here. Yeah. Angels of Heavenly Justice. I believe that is, yeah, the religious group. They don't really dislike me. I've not touched the religious policies even slightly. I haven't. I haven't touched the policies. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. I haven't. All right, capitalist happiness is in a very, very good place at this moment in time. What do capitalists dislike? Income tax, corporation tax, and state schools. I mean, I would love to cancel state schools. However, I have a funny feeling that that might just not be possible. But we can maybe trash the state health service. That does seem like something that we could do. We could actually just completely cancel the policy right now. We could just cancel the policy right now. Or, I mean, I could use it to make money. So how much would I actually make? So I'd go from spending 12 billion to making 35 billion. So basically 45 billion. But the problem is that capitalists still dislike it. Capitalists still dislike it. If we cancel the policy, we still save 12 billion, right? Yeah. Honestly, the state health service has such a minor impact on health. I'm like 90% sure that private healthcare can just pick that up. The way that private healthcare works is that state health service and private healthcare can't exist in the same room. You know, kind of like Voldemort and Harry Potter. Can't exist in the same room at the same time. Bruce Wayne and Batman. You know, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Superman and whatever his alter ego is. Anyway, they can't exist at the same time. So we need to get rid of one in order to get the other. So I've just canceled the state health service. Will I regret it? Maybe. I very well might. The problem with some of these policies is that they just have a large appeal to a lot of people. So, you know, socialists actually like me just about as much as capitalists do. Huh. How strange. How very, very strange. Maybe that means that I'm not doing a very good job as a capitalist. Also, everyone flippin' loves me now. I don't know how it's happened, but it has, and I'm delighted that it has happened. Okay, let's go to the next turn. Antisocial behavior has ended, which means that we've freed up a little bit of cash. Crime, yeah, look, crime now doesn't exist. I think that that's part of a problem, actually. I think maybe crime should be higher if it's got antisocial behavior, like, filtered in. I feel like maxing out 2 policies in the law and order section, i.e. police force and community policing, shouldn't be able to eliminate crime completely. Like, surely not, right? A water shortage is likely to develop, and I still cannot determine what exactly is causing it. Like, what the heck is causing the water shortage here? I genuinely have no idea. The average temperature is actually decreased. Can you believe that? It must be the percentage of farmers. It must be the percentage of farmers. No, that's decreased too. So how is the water shortage? Is it literally just the year? I understand the concept of a year and, you know, time marches forward, etc., etc. But like, that's ridiculous. Okay, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get as many people onto plant-based diets as we possibly can. So I'm going to max out like stuff like the Food Standards Agency, which is going to increase the price of food. But it's also going to increase the number of people that are taking up veganism, basically, which is what we're after. It's going to upset farmers. It's going to decrease obesity, but I think it's what we have to do, to be honest, because getting rid of a water shortage is a massive pain in the backside. A massive, massive, massive pain in the backside. Now, if I was to introduce a junk food tax, capitalists wouldn't actually hate it. So you know what? Let's immediately do that. And plant-based diets, again, massive, massive uptake there, which is real good. Health is going to increase as well, which is nice. Not to mention the fact that we're able to, you know, get 5 billion free cash, which is good. Microgeneration grants. Capitalists don't hate that. Health food subsidies. Yeah, sure. I guess I'll implement that. I don't understand why capitalists wouldn't like health food subsidies. Doesn't really make sense to me. Anything else that I need to introduce? I mean, alcohol consumption. How is our alcohol consumption? I haven't really paid attention to it, but I really should check it out. Alcohol consumption is pretty low, to be honest. Tobacco consumption, still really, really, really flippin' high. Huh. Right, well, we're going to max this out next turn. I think that's the right play under the current circumstances, yeah. Nuclear fission. I think that this is a new policy, actually. Yeah, I think that this is a new policy. Ooh, and we can actually increase our GDP. So we have to take a stance. We have to take a stance on nuclear fission. We can decommission the existing plants. We can decommission at the end of life, which is what we're doing at the moment. Or we can fully fund them to the max, which is exactly what we're going to do. It's going to cost us a couple of extra billion, but it's fine. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. How's our pollution looking? It's bad. It's bad. It's looking bad. Looking very, very bad. Looking very, very bad. How is car usage looking? Car usage is looking a little bit better. Traffic congestion is actually in a pretty decent place. Let's continue to drive down traffic congestion. If we can introduce a couple of additional policies which decrease car usage, then that would be excellent. But I'm not going to introduce this. Drug Enforcement Agency? Maybe. That would be kind of cool. Reforestation? Yeah, this is actually a really, really good policy. Also, the Keep the Country Tidy campaign, that's another good policy. Cyberbullying awareness campaign. I mean, we were at risk of seeing something develop from that. Compulsory foreign language classes. Yeah, this is actually a really, really good policy, weirdly. And capitalists freaking love it for some obscene reason. I presume because it gives more people language skills to make international deals and stuff. Either way, massive increase to tourism, massive increase to foreign investment, massive increase to education, increase to foreign relations, increase to international trade, decrease to racial tension, and a decrease to patriotic opinion. I mean, I'm okay with dealing with a tiny little decrease of patriot opinion there. That's completely fine. Completely fine by my books. Gender Discrimination Act, again, we don't really need to worry about liberal opinion, to be honest. Liberal opinion and conservative opinion are both within reasonable bounds. I'm pretty happy with both of them. Multicultural warriors. That is ethnic minorities. I mean, membership is holding steady. Happiness is also holding steady. Like, why is this a concern? I don't think anyone's opinion of us is problematic at this moment in time, apart from perhaps trade unionists, but trade unionists can't form a violent group anyway. Environmentalists, perhaps we should maybe concern ourselves with. CO2 emissions, yeah, they are running pretty high, to be honest. Average temperature is decreasing, though. Or it did decrease. Yeah, maybe we need to try a little bit harder. Maybe we need to try a little bit harder to try and introduce some policies which decrease CO2 emissions. Keep the country tidy campaign. You know what? Sign me up. Sign me up. It's not a huge impact, but we'll do it anyway. I'm going to reject that. Presumably, yep, to try and appease the capitalists. So let's do that. Okay. I mean, we're on course for an election victory, which is good. Major donor abandons the party. Yeah, look, get out of here. Didn't want you anyway. Okay, an 85 billion surplus is very, very good. GDP increasing is also very, very good. I'm very, very happy about that. Let's go back to the quarterly report here. Health, big decrease there, mostly probably because I destroyed the state health service. It's going to take a little while for private healthcare to pick up the slack on that, but we can get there. We can absolutely get there. We can absolutely get there. Right, this water shortage just is going to continue to accelerate the price of food. Yeah. We need to try and get this water shortage finished. We want to end it. I guess the water shortage is probably exacerbated by the fact that the environment's in such a terrible place at this moment in time. Car emission limits are going to help out with that. It's just going to take 16 turns for it to fully develop, or be fully implemented, I should say. So I guess we're going to try and implement a couple of policies that will help out the environment directly but won't irritate capitalists. So stuff like reforestation, yeah, it's pretty good. Decrease pollution, decrease CO2 emissions, decrease unemployment, decrease respiratory disease. We'll do that. Foreign investor tax breaks. I mean, we could do that. That would be kind of fun, right? Robotics research grants, yeah. Small business grants, I think small business grants honestly are what we're after. Yeah, give me small business grants and let me fully fund that. So GDP is actually going to increase by almost 5%, which is pretty remarkable. We've got plenty of money to throw at these frivolous policies. Single-use plastic ban. Allow single-use plastic. Allow single-use plastic, again, to try and appease the capitalists. Environmentalists, there is a very, very substantial percentage of people that are environmentalists. Almost 60%, actually. And their happiness is of concern to me. They do like my position on nuclear fission, though. Which is great. And they will continue to like my opinion on nuclear fission unless I start subsidizing nuclear power plants, which might be a thing that I do. You never know. It's entirely possible, but we don't need to mess with it for now. Okay. A little bit of a mixed bag. This turn. GDP, another little increase, which is very, very nice. Not substantial enough to give me a green arrow, though, video game, eh? Health has started to increase. Again, this is the benefit of private healthcare, just, you know, picking up the slack, as I talked about. That's going to be maxed out pretty soon anyway, so that's pretty darn great. Pretty darned great. Unemployment continuing to fall. Honestly, that's not a surprise, given that I implemented, like, reforestation and whatnot. A couple of policies that actually decreased unemployment there, so that's pretty good. Deadly water contamination. We need to seriously worry about environmentalists' opinion of us now. That, you know, they're... What the heck? Is there two groups here? They feed into two groups? Huh. I didn't know that. I did not know that. The fact that there's a scroll bar there, though, is ridiculous. Anyway, Sustainability Trust, Environmental Alliance, Avengers of Mother Earth are both where the upset environmentalists are going. That's fine. That's absolutely okay. We can deal with that. Membership has increased dramatically because of this deadly contamination event. Fine. Demand from donor. You're interested in university grants. To be honest, I don't think that I'm against university grants, to be honest. No. Not at all. Not at all. Sure. Implement the grants and fully, in fact, no, don't fully fund it. Don't fully fund. I've made a terrible mistake. Yeah, it increases socialists. No, this is a disaster. Okay, we'll fund it to the absolute minimum and then we'll cancel it later once the donor's forgotten about it. Ugh. Fine. Healthy eating campaign? No, not interested even slightly. Tax, plastic bag tax? No, I'm not gonna upset the capitalists. Not at all. Business startup campaign? Yep, you know what? I'll do that. This will offset the socialist increase. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So that's fine. It's a little bit better. How are we doing environmentalist opinion-wise? How likely is it that I'm going to be able to end pollution? Oh, it's so unlikely. It's so unlikely. Maybe we just grow our population? If we grow our population, then that means apparently that our pollution decreases, as apparently it's relative pollution. Okay, we need to think about this very, very seriously. It is a problem. There's a green plot. Oh boy, that makes me a little bit wary, a little bit apprehensive, actually. Environmentalist membership is... It's up to 72%. Flippin' heck, video game. Go easy on me. Please. The environment is in such a poor position at this moment in time. Okay, I just need to throw... I need to throw whatever I've got at the environment. Do I have anything else to throw at the environment? No. Nope. That's me out. Climate Change Adaption Fund? It's actually not bad. It's actually not bad at all. Sure. Okay. Oh man, okay, it is bad. It is bad. It is very, very bad. 66 billion. 66 billion for this. Decreases the water shortage a little bit. Increases environmentalist membership and fine. You know what? Fine. We'll do it. That wipes out all of my surplus though, and that's very, very irritating. Okay, environmentalists, what else do you care about? What else do you care about? What else can I change? Not much, to be honest. CO2 emissions. I could try and get CO2 emissions down. Energy efficiency. Maybe we can actually increase our energy efficiency. There is a couple of policies. Yeah, smart meter program. Let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Let's fully fund it. See if that makes a little bit of a difference. Energy efficiency indirectly feeds into a couple of environmental things. Clean energy subsidies. I'm going to raise this. I'm going to upset capitalists on this one occasion. I sincerely think that if I don't, we're going to be in trouble. So, you know, I have to. I have to. Who likes me more, patriots or liberals? Patriots like me more. Therefore, it's a simple decision. Cool. All right. All right. We've got a food crisis on our hands. Yep, I know. As much as I wish that I could solve the water shortage, unfortunately, I can't. My climate change adaptation fund has just come online. It's going to take a little while. We do still have a budget surplus, albeit a very, very, very slight one. We currently have 0 total members. Excuse me? I have 0 members in my party? I have 0 members in my party. Okay, so nope, apparently nobody's got any members in their parties? I guess that makes no sense, actually. Yeah, it makes no sense. Okay. Environmentalist opinion. Yeah, I'm not happy about the subsidies. I'm not happy about the subsidies that we're giving to clean energy. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. This is another one that I wanted to introduce. Yeah, organic farming subsidy. This is pretty good for us at this moment in time. But capitalists don't like it, so I'm not going to introduce it. Oh, that's a pain in the backside. Rural development grants. Yes. Yes. But it also doesn't help the environment, so it's not a big deal at all. Technology grants. Technology grants are great. Vertical farm subsidies. Traffic congestion down. Water shortage down. Capitalists hate it. Why do capitalists hate it? Why do capitalists hate the fun stuff? That's what I want to know. Okay, give me technology grants. It's not exciting, but it is what it is. Tax shelters as well. Tax shelters and technology grants. Let's start with technology grants because that increases productivity and GDP. Productivity and GDP, very, very important to me. Right, I know that I did end up just committing a lot of money to that, and that is going to take us down into deficit situation. But as long as we're able to continue to grow our GDP, we don't even need to worry about it, to be honest. Give me a little tourism campaign here and there. What else have we got? Robotics research grants. I don't actually think that we need to worry about that, to be honest. I think our technology is at a fine level. Yeah, our technology is at an okay level. I thought it was a little bit higher, but to be honest, at that level, that's still fine. Diverted profits tax, not a flippin' chance. Not a flippin' chance. Fuel efficiency standards, no. Rent controls, no. Welfare fraud departments, eh. City farms, no. Anything to increase farmer membership is a big no. Right. Young entrepreneur scheme. This is something else that we wanna implement. So yeah, that's pretty good. Sure. It doesn't really matter what we do there. I did something for the Liberals last turn. I'll do something for the Patriots this turn. It's quite simple. Okay, 5 turns until the general election. We're very, very close. We've actually managed to end obesity, which is great. Cyberbullying is about to become a thing, but it's not actually going to become a thing, video game. Come on, there's no upward trajectory on this line. Or if there is upward trajectory, it's very, very slow. GDP did plummet a little bit because of the flash crash, which means that next turn, we're almost certainly, probably, going to be seeing a little decrease in our credit rating. Currency strength is decreased. The food price is probably going through the roof. It is indeed going through the roof, which is very, very concerning. I really do think that a food crisis is more likely than cyberbullying, to be honest, video game, but hey-ho. Health is continuing to increase, especially now that obesity has ended, and unemployment will temporarily be up because, of course, the GDP of the nation has sunk down a little bit. Okay, we got a budget deficit this turn, mostly because we didn't see any GDP growth this turn. If we did see GDP growth, then we wouldn't have to worry about that at all. I wonder if maybe we take this opportunity to reduce military spending a little bit. I mean, we don't go crazy. I don't think that we need to be honest. We take it down a little bit. Private space industry, we can afford to see the private space industry decrease just a smidgen, actually. So, you know what? Let's take it down to about here. It's going to save us about 30 billion, so yeah, I think that's pretty good. 11 political capital. It's not exactly cheap to do, but it does solve our problems. We do need to worry. We do need to worry about the opinion of our cabinet. You like me because you're a patriot and a capitalist. Okay, fine. Fine. Anything else that we want to introduce on this turn? I don't think so. Science funding. You know what? Let's expand this a little bit. This costs so much money. But I want to increase energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is a good thing to increase. You know what? I'm just going to bank on the fact that our GDP is going to continue to grow, and therefore, if we do, in fact, increase our debt just a little bit, then that's fine. You know, we can deal with that. Free school meals, frankly, doesn't really make that much of an impact. It does decrease poverty a little bit, which would be good, but I mean, poverty's actually okay. Like, it's actually fine. It's mostly caused by stuff like the alcohol tax, but alcohol consumption has been dropping dramatically, and as soon as that ends, we can scale it right back. Yeah, I didn't look at my threat assessment. That is a problem. Okay, a food crisis was indeed more likely to develop than a flippin' cyberbullying thing. Oh boy, I'm not happy about this. Not happy about this at all. How's the water shortage looking? The water shortage is actually looking okay. Climate Change Adaption Fund is slowly but surely coming online. The environment will improve dramatically for a turn because GDP got really, really bad for a turn. But I don't think that this is going to be good enough to fix the water shortage. So I suspect that we're still going to see a problem there. The food crisis is not going to end for ages, actually. It's not going to end for ages at all. And it's going to have a pretty detrimental effect on productivity. But that's okay because we actually introduced technology grants to increase productivity a little bit. So we should be able to hold that off there. Poverty, yep, big little increase. Big increase there. Unemployment back down to normal, of course, because we have seen our GDP rise. And speaking of GDP, pretty much back to pre-crash levels, which is great. Small budget deficit, but that's okay. That should even out next turn. In fact, voting intentions are at 99%, which seems a little bit high, but you know, I'm not exactly going to say no. Capitalist percentage of the population is at 73%, which is pretty good. We're 3 turns to the next election. Threat assessment is looking positive. I tell you what, why don't we take this opportunity just to perhaps boost up the spending of the intelligence services a little bit, and maybe also tasers as well, just to make sure that, you know, if there is in fact press freedom 2, just in fact if there is a little bit of a plot, then we can stay on top of things. That would be good. Man, I don't think I've ever seen this many red bubbles before in the economy section. There's a lot of red bubbles here. Environmental protests, yeah. Look, maybe the environmental protests will end not next turn but the turn after, given that, you know, the environment improved for one single turn. And now it's going to go back to being trash very, very soon. Mark my words, it's going to happen. Anything else that we can introduce? I don't think so. I don't think we want to introduce anything else. Maybe, honestly, we just boost up science funding a little bit more. It's gonna continue to cost us an obscene amount of money, but it's gonna allow us to grow GDP, which is excellent, and it's gonna allow us to increase energy efficiency, which is also excellent, because that appeases environmentalists who kind of like me. Environmentalists kind of like me, even though we've got a water shortage, which is, I mean, you know, that is climate change, right? It's evidence of climate change. We got pollution, which is very, very not good. However, pollution is going to end next turn? Oh boy, that's better than I expected. Hospital overcrowding is definitely going to end. Healthcare demand slowly but surely is decreasing because of the deadly virus outbreak, so that's nice. Respiratory disease, it's not going to end anytime soon, is it? Not a chance in the world. Tobacco tax, we just need to expand that as much as we possibly can. I'm going to take no action. Sure, I thought that capitalists maybe were going to see a little bit of an opinion shift there, but they didn't. Ministerial resignation. Okay, so who was it? One of your ministers have enough serving in your government? Law and order? I mean, look, I need to have a complete reshuffle, to be honest. I really, really do. Congratulations. Welcome on in. I need to have a complete reshuffle, but we'll do that after the election. Okay, health is just about maxed out, which is crazy, and a crazy good time for it to happen, too. GDP is back to pre-crash levels fully. Pollution has ended, as we've already talked about. We got a tiny little budget deficit, but that'll probably be wiped out next turn, so we don't need to worry about this at all. GDP is probably projected to grow, I would imagine. If I was doing economic predictions, I would say that next term we're gonna see some GDP growth. Bear in mind, by the way, the context of this GDP growth has been under the worst circumstances possible. You know, the global economy is in tatters. It really is in a bad place. But we have consistently actually managed to pay down a little bit of debt, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm pretty happy about that. Environmental protests, no. Showing no sign of ending. The environment is going to go back to being trash in just a second, so that's fine. Food crisis, yeah, food crisis is leveled out. Food prices probably stopped accelerating and will probably start to end at some point. But yeah, water shortage showing no signs of ending quite yet. We're going to need to pump more money into the Climate Change Adaption Fund, which I'm not exactly thrilled about. Right, is it time for tax shelters? I think it might be time for tax shelters. Or at least something tax sheltery. Foreign investor tax breaks. That's it. That's exactly it. Okay. Give me foreign investor tax breaks, and let's fully fund this as well. So GDP is, wow, 7% increase to GDP. That's real good. That is real good. Okay. Patriots hate it, but, I mean, frankly, it's not a big deal. I'm almost fully funding the military, so Patriots should really have nothing to complain about. Nothing even slightly to complain about. Let's also fully fund science funding, which is great. See if we can decrease unemployment a little bit more, and also just increase GDP a little bit more. The weird thing is that we actually might end up maxing out our GDP. We might end up maxing out our GDP, which I'm not exactly thrilled about because we've thrown rather a lot of money into increasing our GDP. Threat assessment is now absolutely perfect. Look at this. The threat assessment membership is minimal for each of them, so that's really great. Even though we did end up increasing our, law and order preventative policies, that's still okay. That's still a wise investment, in my opinion. Okay, GDP is as high as it's ever been, which is great. Health is back down, but mostly because of pollution, because pollution has restarted. Hospital overcrowding has ended because the deadly virus nonsense has ended. A high-rise blaze. This is a problem, but I think that we should be fine. What is the percentage of the population that is part of the poor membership group? The poor voter group, even. I mean, it's not a huge percentage. 20%. Their happiness of me is not great. It's not great at all. Threat assessment, though, is just exactly where it needs to be. Environmentalists are back to hating me because pollution has developed again. I'm gonna try and fix pollution, but it's not easy. It's not easy to do at all. All right, 2 million members out of nowhere. Don't know how that happened, but I'm delighted that it did. Raise human development. I'm going to make a pledge to cut income tax. Let's make a pledge to cut income tax. We'll absolutely try and do that. That is definitely something that we'll do. Private prisons. Yep, I will make the commitment to increase that as well. What else? Poverty cut by 25%. I'll try and cut poverty by 25%. That sounds fine. And I think that's about it. That's about all that I want to do. I don't think I'm going to bother doing any speeches because what the heck is the point? Fundraising-wise, I'm not actually in a great place. It looks like the Movement for Justice is doing a better job raising funds than Orbital Potato Corp Limited. But they don't have any members. So if I lose this one, I'm going to be supremely surprised. Oh, strong leader. That went down very poorly. But it's okay. That's okay. We got it back. Oh, come on. For real? What a joke. Demand a refund of my political capital there. But that's fine. Okay, let's see exactly where we are. Let's go to the next turn. Let's see the election. Give me the good stuff. Okay, we've got a slight activist turnout boost. Opposition spending is larger than my spending. I mean, that was kind of to be anticipated, but that's okay. All right, look, we ended up crushing these chumps here. This is the Movement for Justice. Frankly, is no threat to me. I am very surprised at the number of people who just do not give a hoot about anything. There were basically more. In fact, there were more non-voters than there were voters, which is kind of crazy. But I guess that's okay. Breakdown of the votes. Only trade unionists really voted against me in any meaningful number, and even most of the trade unionists voted for me, so, I mean, this is great. Plant-based diets up dramatically, by the way, which should have a negative effect on CO2 emissions. CO2 emissions are actually going down substantially. That's great news, actually. That's really great news. That is really good. There's weirdly good news coming out of this election, which is very nice. Food prices increased a lot. Yeah, that's probably why plant-based diets are at the highest level that they've ever been at. Traffic congestion is in a really good place. Inflation, don't even worry about inflation. It's fine. Lifespan up, crime down, electric car transition. Yeah, electric car transition is also in a pretty good place. Oil demand down, unemployment down, almost to the lowest that it can go, which is great. Human development actually increased as well, which is kind of crazy to consider, but it's honestly fantastic news, and I'm really Really happy about it. Okay, you know what? We're going to be beginning our next term in the next episode. I'm not going to reshuffle the cabinet. You know, I've decided that I don't actually hate them. I don't actually hate them. We will proceed to the next turn, trying, of course, to take Orbital, Potato, Corp, Limited, LTD, PLC to the next level in the next episode. Check out the Discord server if you haven't already. Check out the Twitch stream as well. I'm live there most days, probably live at the time of this video when you're watching it. So, you know, head on over, twitch.tv/Potato. As ever, thanks to the fantastic Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/Potato. And thanks to Banana and C Senpai for being the two $25+ plus tier patrons. Thank you very, very much for watching, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye.